Hi, my name's Chan, and welcome to Top 15 Yu-Gi-Oh! Or like Yu-Gi-Oh! Top 15 cards that I made. So, the first card that I found, or like I made, was called Find the Worm of Death. This is a card's effect. Discard 39 cards from your opponent's deck to the graveyard, and then you gain 9,000 life points for each card from your opponent's graveyard, and you can or any number of monsters to your set of field, and add one spell add one spell and trap card on the field. That's like 10, makes it 20. And then this card goes, when this card goes to the grave, your opponent loses 6 turns. That's fine. And then this card comes back to the and then you can block your opponent's monster. Your opponent's monster loses 300, or like 3,000, 0 or 3, 0, 0, 1, 10, 100,000, 1,000, attack and defense for each card from the field, which life points you gain, and you can choose cards from your opponent's graveyard to their deck. And if your opponent's monster battles your monster and it was been back to the field. Now, that's for all the worm or like insect creatures archetype. Now, move on to the Wicked Beast type. This card is from Fusion Monster. It's called the Wicked Deathbreakers. It only can be fusion summoned by one Wicked Avatar and 2 Wicked Monsters. When this card is summoned, you can choose 5 cards, and then this card gains their effects. And if this card goes to the graveyard, Wicked Avatar, or like or 3, and then to your side of field, and this card comes right back to the field, and then you gain 900 life points for each card from the field. And if you have a Wicked Avatar, then you can choose which one of the effects you will choose. And when this card gains it, and if You have Wicked Link, that creature one. Death Root. You can summon Wicked Avatar, like special summon it. 900 attack or life points for each card from your graveyard, and then this card gains 500 for each with hit monster, and then discard 3 cards for each like destroyed by monster spells or trap cards, and discard 3 cards for each card from your side of field, and add 5 cards to your side of. Kind of wicked. That's why. Now this one is, of course, I always call it Chazzy archetype. Chazzy archetype is kind of weird. So you can add. Okay, so one Chaz of Dragon, one warrior type monster. When this card is summoned, you can choose any life points, and then you gain that much, and you can choose. You can choose 3 spells or trap cards, and then it's like the basics of. And this one, Como, Lord of Thanksgiving. One monster, any type, or any effect. It is summoned. You can choose 5 cards, and if there's 3, you can summon them onto the field, and if this card goes to a graveyard, you can draw 3 cards. You gain control over your opponent's monster and tribute them to summon this card back to the from your graveyard in a attack position. 900 attack in this one. And this one. And then King of Chaz Volume 2. When this card is summoned, you can draw 5 cards and discard 1 to the grave, and if you have change. Here's that one. Here, let me. It's a warrior type, and then King Chaz Volume 1. When this card is activated, you can, when this card is summoned, you can summon 3 monsters onto your set of field, and then boom, boom. And Rise of Chaz. When this card is activated, special summon 2 monsters that have Chaz in their name. Special summon them onto the field in attack position, and if your opponent declares an attack on them, your opponent loses half of the points, and both monsters gain points for each card from graveyard you can special summon one King of Chaz or one or an Queen of Chaz on to the field. That sounds like overpowered. And number one, two, number three, number four, like one, I'll give insect monsters that they really need this because it's based off that worm that allows you to discard 5 cards to when it's flipped face up and then discard 5 cards. But this card allows you to discard or let your opponent discard 39. So if they had like discard kind of like one or discard half of them, except 1 card, they have to draw it, and then next turn you automatically win. And then diffusion materials like Wicked Avatar, Wicked Red Root, and that other one that looks like Sliper Sky Dragon. Wicked something. So then it would clear out kind of like it gains your life points, but then its card gains and then moving on. And the new archetype that I'm gonna create for my next video, and huge shout out to one of my best friends, Heather Simpson. Okay, so this I named it after Chaz Princeton and me. Both I would name it Fusion, or because we're actually an archetype for Chaz's. Different Chaz's from. So this one would be cleared out. You can choose any cards you want. And this one take control of your opponent's monster and you automatically win. If like Ultimate Dragon or some like Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon and discard, or better yet, 5-headed dragon. When this card attacks them, and or when you're cut it down, but then this card loses, goes to graveyard, it takes control of your opponent. So then this one's there. And last time, so if I had to put them to order, spell card, this one, number 1. This one, number 2. Number 3, it's my archetype. It's called Chaz on it. So then, number 4, this one. And number 5, sorry if it's too bright, this one. Because, so, number 6, this one. Number 7, this one. And now we're on to the entertainment part. Chaz of Snow. He's level 4 monster. Light. Should have been water, but hey, you know what? I like it light because when this card is normal summoned, switch the like regular attack point of all face up monsters on the field and then return three monster cards on your opponent's side of the field or hand to a bottom of their deck and and your opponent pays 5300 life points and skips 5 turns. I know. You're like saying that card that he made either or talked about earlier. That turns allows you to skip 6 turns. But you're gonna say to me, Chance, why won't this why won't this card turn do like what you say? I'm getting to there. This card mixed with the other card, your opponent skips 11 turns. So then, and if you have Shads of Dragon or Son of Life or Black Hole of Death or Ojama Monster onto, see, I used my new ones and also mixed with the old ones like Ojamas, like Ojama yellow, green, black, red, blue, and Ojama King. Those ones and Ojama Knight of Grand. Those ones, they really need more support. Like Tsunami, if you're watching this, make these cards into real life. Then we'll play them, or I'll play them. I would definitely and 0 0. Like, and you can summon field, wipe out all of your opponents. So then this turn would be one hit KO. See? And then here, this one. And now, moving on to one card that it's named through all the other cards that I have. When this card is summoned, you can choose 3 cards. And if this card goes to the grave, you can draw 5 cards and send 1 card to the grave. Then this card comes back from the grave. And if you have draw phase, and like during could challenge or you could change life points from both players. Like you could, like say, sorry. So, and if you say all banish all the monsters onto your or onto like a field, except this card, how much you could change. But now, moving on to this, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then now I'm on 10. Chaz of Chaos. This card is probably weak against, or like many decks, but come on. But this is called Chazzy Archetype. It's a new one. It takes overpowered stuff and turns it into more and more and more overpowered. Like you could instant KO. Of course, it's called Chazzy of Chaos, so when the card is activated, you can choose 3 monsters from your deck to your side of the field, like special summon them, and then when this card goes to the grave, you can draw 5 cards for each card from your side of the field, and then your opponent loses half of their life points for each card from both players' graveyard. So, like, half, if it's like this much, your opponent automatically loses. But if both players have empty graveyards, he does not lose any. Now, okay, so 10, 11, okay, I lost the count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's going to be higher than that, sorry. And before we go any further, give me likes, share to the max. And I want to get to true max. And so now this card, it's called Moonlight. And then now the token. It says on here, hope you get control. 300 attack points and 25 defense points. It's the same. And now, moving on to 12. This is a fusion form, not elemental heroes, but this is new archetype. This is based off of the old archetype, but new one is called, I call it space archetype. Not elemental heroes. None of that. None. Oh, who's joining? So let me see your comments. And of course, this card is called Space of Darkness. You want to see it? Let me make sure. This. So, I'm doing pretty good, by the way. So, this, or you have missed the beginning part, just like scroll back and come right back. Or maybe do like after this video is done. Okay? And I'll start from here. So this is called like top 15 or top 15 I make. I really want to see Tsunami create like all brand new stuff, like what gonna create for you. I'm gonna show you. So this this archetype that I have it on my phone. It's this one is called, or there's a couple. There's one about Chaz's, one about Bay, and one about all that stuff. So then, I chose this one, this card. So, Space of Darkness. When it can fuse with Sun Planet of Life or Sun of Life, Black Hole of like Death. When this card is summoned, you can choose and to the field, and you gain 600 life points for each card from your side of field. Includes tokens and summon of life and black hole of to your side of field and draw two, or add two cards to your hand. That sounds like Space Ace one. Those ones are overpowered. Is Warrior. So now I'm on 13. Or think. Now this is called Day of the Have to choose three cards from their decks to their her own hands and send fusion monster to the grave. You can summon them on your side of field and add 6 cards to your hand. So you can here. Let me demonstrate. So it says like both players send like pretty much or like choose 3 cards from their decks, add it to their hand, and then send a fusion monster to their graveyard. You can summon fusion monsters to your side of field. Like say if you played against Blue Eyes that like, so they would get you. And then you like lose, or like your opponent loses that fusion monster that could give them instant win. Put it on your side, you get instant win onto your side of the field. Boom, boom, boom. So then, of course, this is okay. So let me think. Okay. So it is okay. I need to count. 1, 2, 3. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This is 13, then now I'm on 14. Dark or light monster. When this card is activated, you can choose 5 monsters that opponent then your opponent loses 300 for each card from your or from the field, or for each card from the field, and add 4 cards to, and you gain 5,000 for each card from your side of field, and you then you draw 2 cards. Now we're on 15. Let's go for max of maybe something higher. Well, here. So, Son of Life. When this card is summoned, you can choose 2 spells or trap cards to your hand, and then you can special summon Black Hole of Death to the field, and then and, and draw 3 cards from your deck, and if this card goes to the graveyard, you can choose 3 cards from your graveyard or your deck to the hand. This is based off of space card. Space, like normal, like her atmosphere. So then Black Hole of Death. When this card is summoned, you can special summon them and all that stuff. So ready? 2, 3, and then so, and it's called, or actually, I actually thought about it. It's called My Hero Academia Yu-Gi-Oh! Edition. I really wanted to see Tsunami, the company that created Yu-Gi-Oh! I wanted to see them create all, and really want to see if they end up in, like, they create better, 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 better cards. And then for this My Hero Academia one, or for starters, this is called Trap Room. When this card is activated, both players have to choose 3 cards. It's kind of like the same thing. Here, I'll just show you. And then next is Deku's Power of Evil. When this card is activated by your opponent's monster attacks your opponent loses 5 turns. That's so fast I can't even read it. See? And then Brainwash of Greed. It takes mind control The one that looks like a brain with hands sticking straight out. Mix it with pot of greed. You got yourself like something. So this one, draw 3 cards from your hand and pay 1,000 life points to select one and add the appropriate effect to the selected monster that you acted on your opponent's side of the field and discard 1 card from your hand and then negate all the effects of your opponent's monsters and destroy them. And then your opponent can't special summon any monsters for 3 turns, and they get skipped 3 turns. It's kind of like brainwashing. You, let's see if I'm going to show you it. Here, this one. Brainwash. Like for example, I have these cards, or not in real life. Those summon to like create those cards in real life. And or if my opponent had this card in their deck, I could draw 3 cards. I put them in, then destroyed all your opponent's monsters. Then pizza. So then now, and this was for the ultimate ones. Ultimate Nomu of Death. It's the, of course, this card is like so overpowered. I can't even read it because it's so overpowered. Could you read its effect? So it's so powered. And I can't read it. Of course, I created it, and it's hard for me. And now, moving on. In embarrassed activated, you can choose 5 cards from your or from both players' decks and add them to owner's hands. And if you have Deku or Evil Deku or Evil Queen of Deku on the field, this is the archetype where it's like breaks down or like break everything, like breaks on the field. 0, 0 life points or points for each card from the hand or field. It's a equip card. Now, here, this one. Now, this one is quite broken. I need a Mrs. Fix of Zoom. She's level 7 monster, and her effect reads: when this card is summoned, you can draw 3 cards. If any of them are equip cards, send them to the grave until this card goes to the grave. And if this card goes to the grave, you can get 3 spell and trap cards to your hand, and then this card comes right back. This card is when it goes to the graveyard. It comes, or you get those like quip spells, then like you draw three, and if you had any quip spell cards goes in to but when this card goes to graveyard, you gain those back. This card comes right back, activates them, and then and if you have Deku on the field, this card gains 3 0 3 0 0 0 300 or 3,000 attack points for each card from the field and add 4 cards to your hand or graveyard. So then, you want to see it? This one. This is not like top 10, 15 you get, or this is not top 15 My Hero Academia or My Hero Academia top 15 anime watcher that I am. I'm hardly to see the scene of Deku from Class 1A, or that this one carried that child in and says, "Hey Deku, what I found." And then Deku's got all embarrassed. Now this card is overpowered. It's called so, and and for shipment, like, sorry, it's just my nose. For a shipment between any My Hero Academia characters, I would choose to ship Deku and what's this? And no, Frog. No, both of them. Like Frog Lady and Momo and Deku and Toga. All 4 of them wants to marry Deku, but then all the guys like Bakugo, Mint, one of my friends, Echo, who she said calling a person that and from My Hero Academia with the split hair, like red and white, Peppermint Boy. I really want to see all of the guys protect, like Deku, like protect him from all the females, like girls, that are trying to want to. That would have been cool to see. Moving on. Or before, they all could you imagine if all of them, all those boys, were trying to protect Deku because he's like their. Like, I would rather. So I want to see Deku, or I really want to see that scene that like all the boys gather around the Deku and they crazy girls. Those crazy girls really then they're like, not all of them, just like, not old folks, just the young ones, like Momo and the earphone jack girl and all that stuff. My favorite, the guy who created, or Nikki's, or not, whatever it's called, the can or creator that created My Hero Academia. Can you add the scene that all those boys try to protect Neku, and then suddenly, of course, I really wanted to see that scene. So, moving on. Now, this card is called XYZ Fusion Summon of Death. When this card is activated, put two monsters that are fusion materials and put and grab your XYZ fusion knockout thing and put him on top of, then if that monster is destroyed, special summon both of them back to onto the field and, and in attack position, and they, god dang it, thanks to Echo, My Hero Academia, I was trying to think, what if they had one guy, so like, I would name it, I would name that, like, hero or villain, fusioner, like fusion device or something. But that guy's, his quirk will allow anyone to, like, when he like touches something in the other object, that one from um, DC Comics one. And then I just can't imagine All Might fused with Speedy Gonzalez, or whatever it's called, and Deku, and both of them. The So, moving on. Now, Now, this run is called Dex Power. When this card would only be activated if by Deku or Evil Deku or Evil Queen of Deku on the field. When this card is activated, you can draw 3 cards, and your opponent loses half of their life points, and they have to discard 4 cards from their hand to the grave, and then your monster gains 900 attack points for each card that is in your grave or in the grave, and then your opponent can't activate any spells or trap cards or monster effects until this card is sent to the grave. That sounds like overpowered. Here we go. So then, oh, I forgot to this one. And then Kingdom of Deku. When this card is activated or is on the field, and both players have to choose like all that stuff. Boom. So here you go. Now, because I thought about it, and I still have so 10 fit or like top 15 cards that I made. But I'm gonna throw like some stuff in. Like I chose My Hero Academia. So I chose my father, or no. So really, first of all, the creator of My Hero Academia, can you please add Deku's father? Can you please add the scene that all, or like, there was one girl that could hypnotize every other girl, that could make them fall in love with like anyone, like make all girls fall into like fall into one, make all the girls fall into in love with one guy. Then all of the guys thought it was Deku's fault, but then more and more into it. And plus, I really want to see the scene called Waffles that Toga into Deku's room when Deku was asleep, and then both of them, or that's what happened. Then to that video of like them texting. Really want to see that get animated somehow. People that's watching this video, can you please animate that image? That like I'll leave it a link into a description, and and let's and leave your theories in My Hero Academia, or like in live stream, and I'll get into it, and I'll get to it. And I also want, all right, now moving on. This one is called, oh gosh, why did I make this card? Hopefully it had, or not Heather. Hopefully he's not watching this video. It's called Love at First Sight. When this card is activated, you can special summon one Toga and one Deku from your deck or hand, and special summon them onto the field. And then if you have if you have King of Toga or Evil Queen of Deku on the field, you can draw three, or you draw three cards and choose three in spells and if you if your monster was attacked, your opponent automatically loses 5 turns. Monster can activate any effect until until after all 5 turns are up. Spells or traps until 5 turns are up. This one. And and Haley. I know might I would, because I'm not sick, and I have a little sign for you. Here. Do you want me to do it for you? Love you. And then moving on. Now this card is based off that other card. I might cry after. This is called King of Toga Warrior. Toga plus Deku. When the card is like Nomu of Death. This is the regular one, not the ultimate one. Regular. So here. This is King of. It's a guy and a Nomu of Death. This is the normal one. Now, this is moving on to a heavy. And the attack point is 9999. This is 25. And then TNT of Minecraft. When this to Bakugo gains 8,000 attack points and defense points, and Bakugo's attack twice in battle, and you gain control over your opponent's of monsters card, and this card you can um, special, like, say if you had Bakugo, that's the next card I'm gonna demonstrate to you. This card, when it's equipped, all your opponent's monsters come to your field and destroys all your monsters. And if they activated a trap card, it destroys the entire field. And your opponent loses 9,000 or 9,000,000 life points for each card from the graveyard. Trap card. This is for that frog lady. And if I really want to be like those people, I would share the design. It would be the fusion. First one would be a guy. Okay? It would look like mixed between uh, girl and that devil, or not devil, Bakugo's, like it's mixed between Deku and Bakugo's, and its quirk is called fusion. So it fuses different items, different people. Like say they like if he touched like Todoroki fused together, it would be called destruction wave. Then, of course, it's kind of like that. But then that's the example, his power. Or another example, Toga and uh, who else? Oh, I know. Um, Deku. So both of them fused. It would be, of course, both of them or their fusion form would be girl, female, and of course, or better yet, not the other one. Now, a second one, of course, is a girl that looks like mixed between um, Mystique and this character fused together. Both of them, it would have been, of course, it would be a female. Then they, of course, her power is called falling in love. It's kind of like Midnight's power, but instead of making people go to sleep, or it's kind of like brainwashing thing. So it's like fuse them, like them fall in love with like anyone that they could choose. Like all the girls fall in love with Deku and wants to marry him. I really want to see that in season 4 or maybe season 5 if if you've been added. That would have been cool. Thumbs up if they made those characters. That would have been totally awesome, cool, collective, and other things. So now just needs. So moving on before I go insane with okay. So this card is called Sleeping in the Snow or Cold Weather. Flip all monsters to face down defense position, and when this card is sent to the grave, all face down monsters to the face up position. This card is in the graveyard. You can special summon one warrior type monster and one water type monster onto your set of field. And then this run that I showed you. And then there's so many. Like there's a token, Deku token, ultimate team, ultimate power, Rising Heroes. Another one. Double her Drubble of Double. Mr. Copy. Frog Girl. Evil Queen of Deku. Bakugo Team T. Embarrassed of All Day. All Might of Heroes. Evil Deku of Death. Toga. Nehu. Evil Deku of Death. Team of Epicness. Toga. Momo. Falling in Love of Toga. Really want to see Toga just like snuck in to Deku's room, and so then there's so many. And there's also, where is it? And where is it? Is it here? Where is that one? That one that's fine. It was called, I called it the, well, here it is. This one that everyone likes. I want to see if they get at it. The director of My Hero Academia, if you're watching this, can you please add this? It's too cool to add this character, because it would be a fusion, or like when Deku knew what his quirk was, but then, of course, one day he's like walking, and like he's like walking, but then he stops, he turns, and he saw a giant orb, like this big, and he walks up to it. He does not know what will happen to them or to him, but then he like looks in, like says, "Hello, are you? Who's in there?" And they're called the Quirkler, or like kind of like quirkless creatures. They like said, "We're had Neku," and he, of course, they gave him the power of infinity power. It gives the user any quirk that's on like planets, different planets, and all that stuff. Then they gave him new look, brand new pants, brand, like all that stuff. It's kind of like, and then of course pro heroes came, and of course he was like standing, like looking at the pod, and of course heroes and class 1A pro heroes came and said, "Hey kid, what are you doing here?" And of course he says, "Well, I was walking the other day, like something happened, then I had to go check it out. A false alarm." And then, of course, he's his clothes changed into his normal. He says, "Okay," or one of the heroes says, "Okay, now I want you to like step away, and I want to look at it. Are you sure? There's something bad inside." "How do you know?" "I looked inside. There was two crazy creatures that looked like came out of a horror movie." And of course, Deku says, "Well, he or they said, well, I'll give you this quirk. It's called Infantile." And they, of course, he kept explaining, or of course, Pro Hero said, "What happened?" "Well," or he says, or like not in his voice, he's like saying, "Well, see, that creature, or there was inside. I think you don't want to disturb it." "How?" "That's easy." Then he he rolled up his sleeves, walks in, grabs the little baby looking like human, but it actually looks like Deku's. Like there was, of course, the there was two kids in like the chamber looks like this, but the inside, like inside, like inside of here, was was a little kid. So then, so when the kid got older and more like knew what's around him, it looked like Deku's, or he said to him, or to Deku, "Father, is that you?" He like says to him, like, "Yes, it's me. Now go back to sleep." Of course, that was the middle of the night, and of course, then two, or then the second one was just like kind of like the same age as both of them. Actually, both of them were born on the same time, same everything. So that looks like, of course, Deku when he's a boy looked like Deku, but the girl looks like the female version of Deku. So then both of them, like kind of like little kids that grow up with their dad, and next morning they both both three of them got him. Of course, that's pretty much I really want to happen. Really want. I really want, because I saw series 3. Can't wait for series 4 or 5. Can't wait for the evil Deku to come into that series. Time soon, please. The creator of the like creator of My Hero Academia, please add them to, or like add all those scenes, like what I told you about earlier. And then, and Haley, I love you. That's what my heart is saying. I love Haley so much. So I promise myself I won't. Okay. And Happy New Year and Happy Christmas and or any other day or Happy Holidays to everyone.